You know, um, when I was a kid, this thing would happen at night. I would, have my eyes closed, trying to fall asleep, and I'd get this feeling. It was this feeling as if the room itself was getting bigger.
Rent is due. Yeah, I said rent is due, and if I don't get up off my lazy ass and film, then I'm gonna be living in a shoe. Now, most of y'all who are subscribed to me and watch my videos here are well aware of the fact that for the past couple of years I've been a pretty big enjoyer of covering things such as analog horrors and ARGs and the such, like the degenerate that I am, of course. And of course, one of my personal favorites has been one called Rapid Eyes, which I did cover about a year or two ago, if you guys have been around for that long at least. But that one was one of my personal favorites, and it's essentially, it's a digital horror. It's a story about a guy who gets lost in this magical video game world, but I won't spoil it for you. You guys can watch that video for yourselves. But anyways, the creator of this series is someone by the name of Godot, and well, what many of you guys might not know is that this is not the only one of Godot's creations. In fact, it was recently brought to my attention by a viewer via email. You know, my very own little rapid eye, a rapid eye of my own. Well done, ye good and faithful servant. Well done. You can rest now. Anyways, the channel recommended to me is one called My House of Smoke. Not to be confused, of course, with my own dwelling. It smells like Marlboro menthols and unbridled hatred in here. And coming as no surprise to anyone, and according to the viewer, of course, that recommended this channel to me, it's actually heavily based on the book called House of Leaves, which I am ashamed to admit that I have never actually read. I'm actually the worst analog horror commentary YouTuber to ever exist. I should go fuck off and leave everyone alone at this point. Well, to be fair, I guess I do have the benefit of being able to look at this series from the perspective of someone who's never actually read House of Leaves before, you know? Glass half full, everyone. Glass half full. That's how you gotta look at it. As always, the link to this channel is going to be left down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. Now, let's get straight into it, shall we, gamers? Our journey begins with the very first video on the channel titled Expedition A. Get ready, you salty-ass croutons, for the absolute fever fuck of a dream that this series is about to be. The person filming points the camera down at their feet as they are seen walking across pavement. This can't be. Please, no. I know that swamp like any other. Don't take me back. To those of you that are still watching at this point, I neglected to include a trigger warning in this video, mentioning the fact that there would be uncensored footage of Florida. I'm so sorry. The camera person films the local scenery of my homeland, such as this paid gopher tortoise actor. He admires a sign showing all the wildlife in the area, showing a special interest on this depiction of a manatee, of course. Then the footage abruptly switches scenery so quickly that it triggered both my vertigo and abandonment issues, so thanks for that. The camera focuses on a corner in a dark room, and in the background we can hear a metallic banging noise. The footage cuts back to our swamp dweller friend, who seems to be taking a respite at a picnic table. This, of course, is when he finally breaks the silence and begins speaking directly to the camera for the first time.
You're probably wondering why I'm out here. I don't usually get out of the house much. Well, I was talking to my therapist the other day, and she told me that I should, step outside my comfort zone, do new stuff, get out of the house more, so that's what I'm doing. Just decided I'd take a walk through the park, and I even brought lunch. And to really sell it, I got, if I can open this damn thing. There we go. I brought a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay, unpopular opinion, and ultimately no one's gonna give a shit, but I need to get this off my chest. This is for me. This is for my mental health and my mental health journey, okay? But I really don't like peanut butter jelly sandwiches, okay? It's like eating gravel. But for a long time, peanut butter jelly sandwiches were like a struggle food for me. You ever eaten something like so many times that after a while it just becomes nauseating to you? Well, that's how it was for me. So let's just say this hypothetically, right? If I'm out stranded in the wilderness and I'm lost, and the only thing that I have with me to eat is a peanut butter jelly sandwich, then instead of eating the sandwich, I would hold the witch and I would grab a fistful of sand and just shove it down my fucking throat and die. Because that's how much I hate peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Let's go back to the video. Anyways, the cameraman elaborates a bit more on his therapist's advice to him. He says that he understands why she selected this activity due to its relaxing nature. Despite it being hot and slightly crowded, he's still enjoying himself and seeing the cute little critters running amok, not to mention, of course, the friendly neighborhood crackhead that sleeps on a mattress in the woods next to the swing set. Because every park in Florida has one. He further explains how the thought of there being too many people at the park initially made him anxious, but despite there being no birds and butterflies and, everything had been just fine. And then, there's also no lizards and everything else absent a friendly neighborhood crackhead. But right as he mentions there being no lizards, the footage cuts to darkness and then to a door in the same dark room from before. Something can be heard banging on the opposite side of the door, trying to be let in. A faint droning sound can be heard in the distance while the knocking momentarily ceases. Then suddenly a key slides into the slot and the door abruptly swings open. The footage returns once more to our main protagonist. He says to us that he's sure we can probably relate, that this is just what anxiety is, that you worry about stuff. Well, now that our friend has been there for a whopping 2.5 minutes, he decides it's time to take his sleepy ass back home. Not, of course, without dropping by Mother Nature's water park, gator-infested swampland. Now this is where he rightfully decides to head back the way he came. He film an iguana in the road and then he arrive home. Upon entering the front door, he emphatically shakes his water bottle at God for how unbearably hot it is outside, only to drop it in a Shakespearean fashion on the floor. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at the situation. It's just funny to me because I relate, because I'm really bad at handling stress. I just thought it was kind of funny how dramatic this part was here. I'm sorry, I'll stop laughing. But in all seriousness, he is noticeably very hard on himself for something that most people would view as a simple mistake, saying that it is so like him to do this. He places the camera down here as he states that he's going to get a towel, and this is when the cinematic piano montage that we never asked for begins to play. The last few frames of the video focuses on an empty hallway with nothing but a towel lying on the floor. In the description, we get the following message: authenticity has given way to amateurish self-doubt. Episode 2, The Closet, where nothing but good things ever happen. Ever. Our cameraman continues his quest for the famed Florida skunk ape, but first he has some unfinished business he must document at home. We are shown more shots from the dark room shown in the previous video, and based on the stuffed animal on the bed, we can assume that this is a bedroom. Chains can be heard slamming against the floor off camera. Now, either the ghost of Christmas past has come to haunt us, or we're actually just chained up in this guy's basement. The clanging of chains continues to echo echo on as the camera focuses in on a segment of wall with a tape measure extended across it. In the next scene, the cameraman is seen sitting alone in his hallway playing haphazardly with the tape measure like a Gotham villain who's about to hit us with some weirdly placed exposition about a third of the way into the main storyline. I'm sorry, for some reason I just keep picturing him as being like Bob the Builder in like the Batman universe because of like the tape measure prop.
Hey, Batman, you want to know if I can really fix it?
The cameraman sighs, places the tape measure down, and trades it out for his phone as he can be heard walking away off camera. He arrives at the hallway from the episode prior and focuses the camera on the towel that was seen lying on the floor. And what he shows us is pretty crazy, dare I say it, pretty House of Smoke. Now, conveniently, he explains to us here that this only works if a camera isn't pointing at it. I mean, the demons do get a little camera shy after all. Now, what is he about to demonstrate for us without actually Do I have demons now? Oh, is that what this is? Is that how this is going to go? Okay. So you sorry, that just threw me off guard. You might be asking yourselves, what is he about to demonstrate for us here? And well, you're never gonna fucking believe it. Are you ready for this? He just Narnia jumps through the fucking pantry. I'm so here for this. Let's go. That was like both predictable and not predictable at the same time. I don't know what I was expecting. I was kind of like half expecting there to be like a cute little twist, or maybe he just like body slams and just contorts his body like and just crams it in there, and he just keeps jamming his head through the drywall because he can't get through and he can't get out. His footsteps can be heard echoing down what sounds like a cavernous hallway. He eventually reaches his destination, and the sound of his footsteps change to sound like he is walking across a carpeted surface. He finally reveals his destination to us, and of course, it's the back room. No, I'm sorry. Actually, it's no, it's the hallway dimension, and it's not the same. It's not the back rooms. It's kind of its own thing. You're just gonna have to trust me on this. Now, camera guy is just as shocked as we are, so he takes a moment to sit down here, and this is where he has a very interesting piece of dialogue.
Shit. I need to sit down. I need to sit down. Okay. God, I wish you were here. Because I need someone to help me wrap my head around this, and you were always really good at that.
The description of this video provides us with the following message. A closet is naturally mundane, storing foods and clothes and all junk. Towels are typically closets only I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry. I won't read like a Redditor anymore, but it was fun while it lasted. I think we had some good laughs there, right? For some, it may only seem to exist when its purpose is required. In the mind of a child, however, it is quite the opposite story. Children fear the closet. It becomes a dark, unknown, terrifying space that no midnight light can penetrate. Why is it that children fear the closet but adults do not? Do we grow out of it? Do we begin to think more logically, understanding that monsters do not exist? Or could it just be that we develop far more important fears than what could be in a simple closet? A closet that stores food is often called a pantry. Episode 3.
I am not much of an adventurer.
Boo! Boo! You know what? Boo! Boo. F's in the chat. We don't like to see it. Hey, you can be adventurer if you want to. You can be gamer. You can do it. I believe in you. Anyways, in the third episode titled Expedition B, he elaborates a bit more here and further states that this has never been a part of his nature. Doesn't like trying new things or exploring in general. Says a guy who opened a portal to a hallway pocket dimension in his pantry, but okay. Now, he does go on to say that when it comes to something like this, You have to. So he's mainly pushing on words out of necessity, not so much that he wants to know more, but feels as if it's unavoidable. Anyways, he's ready to check out that skinamarink-ass demon pantry portal again.
Yay!
His next plan is to try going down one of the hallways. Something like this can only ever have a good outcome. But don't worry, he's just gonna see how far it goes, and he's gonna do the cautious thing by bringing a 10-minute timer with him. Just to make sure he doesn't walk for longer than 10 minutes. While he explains that he's using the timer because he films primarily with his phone and no other camera, the camera cuts to a third-person perspective from down in the hallway, which should be impossible since, as he stated, he doesn't have any other camera. Interestingly, the description of the video elaborates on these strange cutaways. Cut this one down to only the important parts. Not sure about the weird edits, though. That wasn't me. Maybe he put those in? So this confirms that the weird cutaways that we've seen here aren't actually just an artistic choice. They are a real-world element that apparently the uploader on this YouTube channel and potentially even the cameraman can interact with. So he's being watched is what I'm trying to say. That's concerning. We don't like that. Anyways, our guy is ready to check out the hell portal in his pantry yet again, because this is exactly what his therapist meant when she told him to take a long, relaxing walk. So he brings a timer and a flashlight with him, not planning on spending any more than 10 minutes exploring the area. He walks down the hallway, and mind you, the whole time, bro is just calm as shit, okay? He's just like, yep, yeah, this is how we're spending the Tuesday afternoon, I think. Anyways, so as he's walking, he finds a box on the ground, more specifically a deck of playing cards. He pockets it and continues onwards. As he's walking, he notices this weird hole thing in the ceiling that seems to lead to another area of the expanse. Unsure of what to make of it, the walking simulator of all time continues. He walks and walks until he finds the couch room of shame and self-loathing, where he decides to take a seat and provides us with some much-needed lore.
Jesus Christ. When I was a kid, this thing would happen at night. I would, have my eyes closed, trying to fall asleep, and I'd get this feeling. It was this feeling as if the room itself was getting bigger, as if the walls were expanding, the ceiling was getting further away, everything just moving and expanding. And this feeling would persist for as long as I had my eyes closed. But when I would open them again, everything was exactly how it was before. Nothing had moved. For years, I could never figure out why I felt that way. But now I guess I know why.
He spins around and around in a circle until he finds a happy little hallway leading directly down into the bowels of the earth. And interestingly, this is when the camera also starts to glitch. Unsurprisingly, he's all like, nah, no thank you. I think I'm gonna pass on that, actually. No thanks. The timer goes off here, cueing his signal to get the fuck out of there, which he begins to do, only to realize that the couches have vanished. You want to know what else vanishes when he tries to make his way back? Well, the entire path that he took to get there vanishes. Everything is just spun around upside down and just fucked by the time he starts making his way back. And it's a terrible situation all around. And last but not least, we arrive at the most riveting episode in the series so far, in my opinion. House pictures. Where it's just pictures of a house, man. At least that's what it wants you to think it is. Okay, you gotta think outside the box here, people. All of the pictures seem relatively normal until we reach timestamp 1 minute 41 seconds, where a picture of a very familiar blue hallway is shown on the screen. The slideshow continues, and in the next picture, we can see another picture taken from the same corridor. Only in this one, we can actually see the main protagonist standing a little further ahead. So as I stated previously, someone was watching him the entire fucking time. The description contains the following message. I found this in the house pictures folder. It just looks like a bunch of old pictures, at least at first. Also, I'm sorry about my rambling from a few videos ago. It was a paragraph from this book I was reading. I felt like it was sort of relevant. Anyways, I'll be releasing some more of this stuff soon. There's just way too much for one guy to comb through. Why the creator of this nonsense felt like they had to bury everything through a bunch of folders is, well, something I'll never understand. It's not even particularly scary, just annoying. Well, there's certainly a lot to unpack here, so let's get straight into it, shall we? So a couple of things that this series seems to establish about our main character right off the bat is that, well, they seem to struggle quite a bit with anxiety and perhaps even some agoraphobia, and are currently seeing a therapist, and this channel isn't even run by them in the first place, but rather a person that seems to have stumbled upon this folder on a computer or laptop somewhere that was filled with their recordings. While I haven't actually read House of Leaves, I did conduct some cursory research on the book and its overall plot, and it's essentially about some douchebag named what's-his-face, Johnny Test. I can't read, sorry. It's like I have a script down here and the words are small. So Johnny Test. Johnny Truant, okay, that decides to go snooping around in his dead neighbor's apartment. God, what a Chad, am I right? Now, the neighbor named Zampano left behind a written film analysis of a found footage horror film known as the Navidson Record. Now, what is this film about, you may ask? It's about this family that moves into a new house on Ash Tree Lane. Now, shortly after moving in, that's when they realize, after running a few measurements, that the inside of their house is a few square inches bigger than the measurements on the outside. And this is where the architecture slowly starts to warp and distort over time, much like in House of Smoke. And then, of course, further down the line, there is the plot twist of the Navidson Record not actually existing, as well as the fact that Zampano was actually blind, so he shouldn't have been able to write anything at all. And of course, this is also when Johnny Truant descends into his own form of insanity. While this is certainly a very watered down explanation of the story, both it and House of Smoke seem to share very similar themes of psychological distress, or at the very least, undertones of it. And I believe, this warping of the architecture of one's home could also be interpreted as a descent into one's own mind. And yeah, no, just to harp down on that a little bit more, that is really what came across to me while watching House of Smoke. It felt like I was watching someone slip slowly into their own madness and be essentially consumed by their own mind. Now, circling back to the third episode in the series, our main character finds a deck of playing cards lying on the ground in the hallway dimension down one of the corridors. While it's never really explained in further detail later on, I do believe that, this could be a reference to the play on words House of Cards, which in this case would likely be referring to the unstable nature of the protagonist's ever-changing house, for lack of a better word. And similarly, this could also be representative of the protagonist's fragile mental state. While it's never directly stated, it is heavily implied throughout the series that our main protagonist isn't really doing so great mentally. I mean, in the very first episode, he spends most of the first half talking about his experience with anxiety and how his venture into the great outdoors seemed equal parts beneficial and also intimidating. But either way, things genuinely seem to be looking up for the creator here. He does seem, all things considered, pretty optimistic. But of course, we know that this doesn't last, and as a matter of fact, in the description of this video, we get the following message. Authenticity has given way to amateurish self-doubt. Towards the end of this episode, when the protagonist returns home and spills the water bottle on the ground, this is the first time, in my opinion, at least in the series, where we noticed a prominent shift in tone. Not just because of the weird hallway and bedroom shots, of course, that too, but because of how the protagonist reacts to this seemingly mundane occurrence of spilling a water bottle on tile floor, no less. Maybe this is projecting, but during this part where he expresses his frustration, I could really hear the panic starting to creep into his voice there. And I believe this noticeable shift also continues to progress throughout the series. And that does really seem to be what the description was referring to, at least in the case of this episode. And of course, I cannot talk about the first episode in the series without also mentioning the out-of-place edits that show a locked door with something banging on the other side, only for it to be eventually opened with a key by some unseen force. While this is the first and only time in the series we actually witness, I guess, the sign of there being another presence in such a direct way, apart from there being, of course, those third-person camera angles and stuff, but this is the only time we do see this entity, right? So while there definitely does seem to be a psychological element here with the main protagonist struggling with his own mental health issues, there is a very real physical threat that's definitely felt, at least throughout the series, in my opinion. And more specifically, one that has been following our protagonist around with a camera from the very beginning. That shit's mad creepy. Speaking of descriptions, the description of this second video titled The Closet really stood out to me for a number of reasons, really main one being just for how bizarre it is, right? According to the description, again, of the final episode, this paragraph was taken out of a book that the person uploading these videos felt was relevant to, I guess, whatever he felt it was relevant to. I don't know. Go off, sis, I guess. But much like in House of Leaves, where it is later revealed that the Navidson record doesn't even exist, I was actually not able to find any record of a book containing this excerpt at all. So whether it was intentionally placed there as a reference to the Navidson record, or maybe, you know, in the universe of this story, it was, you know, a copy of something from a paper, you know, it's hard to say, but I personally am leaning towards the former. Also in this episode, the protagonist starts speaking directly towards an unknown individual, stating, and I quote, "God, I wish you were here, because I need someone to help me wrap my head around this, and you were always really good at that." So I'm assuming this person's identity was eventually going to be revealed later on in the series, and seeing as it's been 10 months since the last episode, I'm just gonna say that it's probably safe to continue speculating on this one, at least for now. But with everything we've seen leading up to this point, this really makes me think that whoever this person is, they might have unfortunately passed away. And this entire series is basically how our main protagonist is dealing with his grief, by taking a gentle stroll through his hell closet and never returning again. Now, who is it uploading all of this content then, if not the main protagonist? Well, unfortunately, the series never really answers that question for us. But in the description of the very last video, they do take on a very jaded attitude towards the main protagonist. They said, and I quote, "Why the creator of this nonsense felt like they had to bury everything through a bunch of folders is something I'll never understand. It's not even particularly scary, just annoying." Damn, bro. Are you okay? Maybe you need to go on down to Florida and take a happy stroll through them woods, okay? Get lost. And the last two elements of this series that I really want to touch on is, well, number one, the channel description, and a single post in the community tab. The channel description simply states, "Only for you," and the post contains the following message. "I dreamt of it last night. I only had a flashlight. The walls began to disappear, and then I was alone." Now, for that post, I'm assuming that the excerpt was taken from something that the uploader might have found in the main protagonist's folder, the one that seems to be containing all of these videos as well. Now, the channel description, I got nothing. Yeah, I got absolute fucking nothing for that one, people. And this video is already way too long, and I am tired. So, if you guys made it all the way to the end of this video, I just want to say you're awesome. You're a trooper. You're one of God's soldiers, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and thank you really to everyone who finds it within themselves to watch this form of psychological horror that is being displayed on your screen. I don't know how you do it. God bless you. And of course, thank you so much to my lovely patrons. You guys are amazing, and it means the world to me that y'all are so supportive and somehow are getting enjoyment out of my incoherent ramblings. And as for the my lovely patrons, I do want to let y'all know that I have something in the works for you. So if you smelled anything burning from down in the soup kitchen, yeah, that's me. It's because everything is on fire and I'm dying. Anyways, I'm gonna leave you guys off with this final message. House of Leaves. More like House of Steve. Chicken jockey. Chicken jockey.